Welcome back, beautiful souls, to the Soul Collective podcast. I'm so grateful you're here and so excited to welcome today's guest. Today's guest is an oracle of ancient wisdom, a spiritual advisor, a visionary artist, and I am just so excited to welcome this radiant goddess, Joan of Angels. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm telling you, it's an honor, Emily, to be with someone that I resonate with, that I actually have some soul memories with, that will probably come through as we're talking today.
I feel the same, and it's like just this long reuniting with an old friend, and I'm so excited just to explore your journey. You're someone who really inspires me, and I feel you're always, you're traveling around the world, you are living your soul's mission, and I'm so excited just to learn more about you and your incredible journey.
I'm looking forward to it. Ask away. Let's chat.
Well, okay, so I know that in California at one point you had a thriving practice as a doctor of chiropractic and a master's in counseling. And I know that probably there's elements that you weave into what you're doing in the world, but you're doing something really quite expansive and multidimensional. And I'd love to hear your journey of, kind of how you came to be doing the work that you're doing in the world.
Well, I talk a lot about soul purpose. And when I was just starting out my chiropractic career, I went to this visioning workshop. I'll never forget. I was learning the art of manifestation, and I went to this visioning workshop, and it was like, well, what am I here to do? Even though I was a chiropractor now. And and I had this vision, Coliseum, which I'm going to go visit in October. I was in the Coliseum, and in front of me were millions of people walking by, dropping their crutches, on their wheelchairs, crawling. And then as they passed me, they would stand up. And behind me was an incredibly angelic goddess. I mean, huge. And the two of us dressed in white were just doing this. And people were being healed. And I heard a voice that day that said, "You're here to heal and inspire millions of people." So from that moment on, I took up the call. It was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I'm here to heal and inspire millions of people. So meanwhile, I had a chiropractic office in Berkeley, and you can only manually adjust one person at a time. And, and so I would find myself frustrated. It's like, how can I heal millions or thousands or even 10 at a time? How can I up this level of healing? So over the years, it's been my call. It's like, how can I up my level of healing? And interestingly enough, I had a past life regression of my experience on the ships about 8 or 9 years ago. And and in that regression, I saw myself on the ship. It was a saucer ship, one of 7 ships up in over Baja, Mexico. And and everyone was asleep. I had this group Baja Paranormal, and everyone was sitting there asleep like this, except for me. And I was on the podium. And what I was doing was tuning up their frequency, literally aligning up their antennas that connected to the heavens and down to the earth. And they reminded me that I had made this vow that not one soul shall be lost, that I would vibrationally align the people of planet Earth. And so that again re-inspired me until 2013 on Halloween, when I was given the call to paint 33 angels in 30 days. So my life has been a series of energetic upgrades. Not it didn't all come at once. I didn't have that grand awakening, and here I am. I had these pieces that came to me every so often that became totally transformative. And so I dived into painting angels, painting celestial realms, and literally just following instructions. I became a paintbrush for the divine. And so that has led to where I am now, when I was named Joan of Angels and have learned to navigate between heaven and earth. I've learned to help connect people between heaven and earth. and remind people. I think the greatest thing I do is I remind people that you too have this energy, and that it's just a matter of raising your vibrational frequency to connect with the gods, because they don't come down here so much. And they want us to raise our frequency to come to them. So
Mhm.
that's my backstory.
I love that. I would love to explore it in further detail, but something I want to ask you for listeners, can you share your astrology, your sun, moon, and rising?
Of course, I'm assuming you must do that with everyone. Yes, I'm a Pisces rising. I have always loved being a Pisces because intuitively, I've just so intuitive, and I'm an empath. So I would just easily understand. I had a gift of understanding other people, but I thought everyone did that. It wasn't anything special. I have a Capricorn rising, which is all about bones and grounding. So I'm sure that's why I was a chiropractor. It was a way to anchor in my energies. And actually, as a chiropractor, I learned to feel pain. Excuse me for 1 second. Let me have a sip of water.
Mm.
When you see the cup, you'll know you have to edit it. But I that's how I began. And I have a Libra moon. So the Libra moon puts me into the realm of the goddess realm. I want to be surrounded by beauty. Everywhere I go, I want it to be harmonious. And that's what I bring to the table, how to have harmony in groups and how to have harmony within yourself.
I love that. It's so beautiful, so beautifully expressed. And I want to go back to something that you shared about your story. I've heard you say that when angels speak, if we don't listen, it becomes uncomfortable. And that can sometimes be easier said than done. So I'm curious on this journey of further awakening and expansion, did you lean right in to kind of making these shifts, or what did that look like for you?
So it's so good we're talking about it for everyone listening, because I was very shy, and I hid in closets in my childhood. And actually, I ran away at the age of 3. And I was terribly, and my parents sent me to college so I could be an elementary school teacher, but I was too shy to stand up in front of a class of students. So I have had to sort of deal with this fear of being seen. Now I understand that fear of being seen is from the horrible trauma of being tortured, punished, burned at the stake, or drowned, or thrown off pyramids, whatever they did to people who spoke to the gods. So I did everything I could basically to not listen. And I had a horrific experience in 2016 at the yoga festival in Joshua Tree, where, when I say horrible, I had this palm reader. He's looking at all the wonderful aspects about me, and then he looks at this already. Swear to God. Okay. Well, that cut through me, that cut through my core, Emily.
What did he say?
Did you know that you were supposed to be famous already? And of course, I realized, well, I had blown it. And I knew that I was supposed to be renowned for something like this, but it was my shyness and my refusal to rip off my own veils and to stay hidden. And so the consequences were this palm reader is telling me, did you know that you were supposed to be famous and that you didn't say yes to the call? And then he said to me very prophetic words. He says, don't worry, your time will come again, as long as you're prepared to say yes. And so that was very hard. That's the best way to express it. Very hard. And I've made it a point now to really evaluate the callings that I get, and hopefully saying yes to the ones that are which is why I'm on this journey now around the world, because I realized that opportunity was not going to come again, even though my opportunity to be renowned is coming, but the opportunity to travel again around the world might not come. And that's so true for all of us. Our guides reach out to us, they give you a little prompt, and then you go, oh, that sounds good. And then you go, oh, no, I can't do it. I'm a mother, I'm a teacher. How can I leave my home? How can I do all this? And we find reasons to not listen. And then we experience more discomfort in our life because we're not living on our path. We've turned down that invitation to play with gods, to play with the angels, and we've gone back to our human life. So that was a painful lesson, and I hope all of you out there listening really hear that, because you don't have to say no. These promptings may be very unique, like leave your home, Joan, and travel around the world. But when we listen, then it's on divine plan. It's on the will of spirit. And it always has synchronicities and magic and miracles.
I love that so much. It's such a powerful lesson. And I want to pull out a couple things of that story is like when he was reading your palm, it was like this deep inner knowing, this deep remembrance. Like it just
Oh,
resonated
yeah.
as truth for you. And the soul knows the path, even if it's uncomfortable. And then, this divine timing that you speak of like leaning in. And when we lean in, it doesn't matter how it unfolds or the timing that it unfolds. It's in the being. It's in that journey, that process. It's the resistance where I feel like personally, where things get uncomfortable.
And it becomes, when we resist anything, it becomes discomfortable. And, I teach a couple of classes on intuition, but the biggest thing that I teach, which is a real key, is to start keeping track in a journal of when you have not said yes to your intuition and when you've said no, because you learn that, oh my God, that's when I had the accident, or that's when I lost everything, or I had a boyfriend that I knew I should not get involved with. And I still did because, we're human. And I lost everything. I mean, I lost $500,000 of everything. Now, my guides teach me very severe lessons when I don't listen now, because I should know better. And so I tell people to really pay attention and to start listening, but you can track it. So you have to learn to say, you have to learn that it's safe to say yes by learning when you said no.
Hmm. Hmm. I want to ask you about this because there may be this, inner feeling, this inner spark of I want to go in this direction. This is what I feel like my path is, but I'm not sure if it's my blueprint, the divine design. And I feel like this is one of the gifts that you help, star seeds, light workers with is to really understand, activate their soul mission. We talked about this a little bit, earlier before we started recording as like, one of the ways that I love to connect with the energy and the signature frequency is to look at the divine blueprint, the birth chart and human design, and kind of layer these together. But you like intuit all of this and it comes through, so I'd love to know like how you see things and how it can help, like really to help somebody to step into the fullness of who they came here to be.
You're making me want to cry for some reason, because this is the most important things we can do, is to access our memories of why we came here. If you're listening to this, you were one of those beings that volunteered to come down here to this planet eons ago to help bring Earth into the ascension, to help bring yourself to ascend as a soul. And you volunteered to come down here. And we have all sorts of gifts that we would give. And I tell people you have a clipboard that not only has your assignment, but all these superpowers that you have. But we come down to an Earth that is forgetful, that not only do we forget when we get here, but everything is contradictory. So things that we might sense, or maybe as a child you saw angels, but you're told that you're crazy, that they don't exist. So we're not even given have. So the reclaiming of your memories is so very, very important, so that you can start to remember, oh my God, I came here to wake people up. I came here I'm working with a beautiful woman now that, her mission is she came here to dance her prayers, basically, to raise spiritual vibrations through the art of her dance and through waving energy through the crowd, that that vibrational shifts, just like language. Some of us don't may not speak light language. I kind of only speak to it to myself in light language, but my hands are light language. My words are light language. My art is a light language that raises people's vibrations so you can remember. Because once you remember, then you have a sense of confidence about walking the world and following your dreams, because those dreams, that vision you might have to do a certain thing, to follow a certain path, if it makes your heart sing and you're so excited about it, that's a sign that that is your call. And that is what you should be doing. What happens is we have what I call miracle busters in our life. And these miracle busters just whack us over the head. How dare you think of that? Who do you think you are? How could you leave your home or your comfort? And so we find ourselves having to learn all those lessons of life, which could be hard, but are teaching us how to be stronger so that we can actually claim our power, claim our frequency. And it's a path of initiation.
Yes. Let's explore that path of initiation. I love that you call them miracle busters because that's such an accurate description. And, I want to go back to something that you said in your journey, which is like hiding in the closet because there was this fear of, public speaking or being seen. And, perhaps there's this like peril aspect or just this part of my own personal journey that I can so deeply resonate and relate with is like the journey of becoming confident to be seen, to be visible. And, I mean, somebody might look at you, Joan, and be like, well, you're a model and you are traveling around the world and you live this really courageous, bold life. Like, how did you ever struggle with confidence? Like, what would you want to share?
Okay. I will be very real with you. So as a child, I swear I think I took ugly pills. My mother was very beautiful. My grandmother was very beautiful. They had modeled for my grandfather. They were very, very, and sort of beauty ran in the family. But to me, I thought being beautiful was very superficial. So I actually literally took ugly pills. I tried to be as ugly. I actually almost flunked out of college because I flunked student teaching because I couldn't have any confidence speaking to people with anyone watching even in the classroom. So it's not like I just automatically stepped into this. It's been a process of letting go of all my fears, a complete training, 32 energetic upgrades it has taken me to get to feel like I'm more complete and that I am who I am. And I'm not embarrassed to go out in the world and say I'm Joan of Angels, that I can resonate with that frequency. And so when we claim that we have gifts, like even yourself, you're extremely beautiful and you have beautiful gifts, but to actually claim them and then go out in the world and say, I help people do these things and I've learned how to do this myself and you should work with me, because it's like that confidence. Like when I started as a chiropractor, I used to think that I'd get a letter in the mail that asked me to return my license because I didn't at all feel confident being a doctor and treating people. I had to kind of fake it till I learned it and do a lot of prayer and meditation and asking for help. I had a guide that I would call in every day before I started working, this master healer. And so there's tools we can start to use, the strength and confidence to be who we are, to be able to go out and tell people I work with angels or I work with galactics. I do this. It's because the rest of the world, are more muggle like. They don't believe in this kind of magic. They may be slowly waking up. And so we are that person. I'm that person who thinks she's Joan of Angels. So there's a whole energy about claiming who you are and not being shamed for the powers that we have, the gifts that we have.
Mm, yes. Yeah, it's so beautifully expressed and felt. And I feel as though, there's not a, you know, one single thing. It's in the doing, it's in the being, it's in the taking one step forward outside of your comfort zone, and strength and courage is developed in that process.
And it's true, it is. It's actually, you get a prompting or an urging, and it makes your heart sing. And it's in the practicing of that, it's in the doing. So when I began painting 33 angels in 30 days, which I thought was pretty nutty, and I said no twice before I said yes, I realized, that then they started to show me new things. And that was an amazing energetic upgrade. I put them all on the wall. I created an angel loft, and a book falls off the bookshelf. So you get the moment you say yes and you implement it, then the next step will be given to you. And the book opens, it says your call for angelic assistance has been heard. And then the next time the book opened, it was to be, and this is important, to be one of the chosen ones. You must choose.
I love that.
You must say yes. You to be that leader that you came here to be, or that healer you came here to be, or even the mother you came here to be. It's you have to say yes and embrace it.
What are you saying yes to in this now moment of your journey?
Oh my goodness. So I'm saying yes to remembering that I've been a high priestess in Avalon, and that I have those ancient memories within me. I'm saying yes to the knowledge that I was a high initiate who transcended death, even, that talked to the gods, that walked with the heavenly ones. And in knowing that, I also know that I lost my life many times. Even to the energy of Joan of Arc, it was a very bad death. And however, my guides have assured me that this is a lifetime where all of us who have these energies will master it if we choose to say yes and trust the process. So I'm saying yes to my memories, and I'm saying yes to Egypt. I'm actually going to Egypt twice. Memories is Hathor, and it's the goddess Hathor and the goddess Isis, and all those beings that we've all been a part of.
I want to ask you about that because I know that you travel and you bring groups to different, sacred sites around the world. What has been your experience in terms of the upgrade or the potency of actually being in some of these sacred sites?
So I have been to a lot of sacred sites without the groups, and some of these events are just about to happen now. But in teaching about them, and even like today, we're doing a panel with some of the Glastonbury speakers. Each chance now to work on that level. We're going to go into the heart chakra of Glastonbury, say, which is what we're going to talk about today, the calling of Glastonbury, when we were high priestesses in Avalon, where we had magic, where we were able to call a ship to us to take us across the waters. And so we're activating, when you go to these sites, or when you work with an oracle, you remember, and it activates your own gift. It activates the ability to become a being of light, to call the ships, to transform energy. So it's actually a really, really exciting process to do what I'm doing. To me, and as a Pisces, I live in the world of magic. I am already a fifth dimensional and higher frequency. And so it always gives me an opportunity to align in the higher realms, which is really the place I like to be.
Okay, so, along that, how do you ground? Like, what are some of the ways that like you ground your energy being so high vibrational?
Well, I will tell you, I tripped and fell and broke my toe the other day. So sometimes I forget to look. But I do a process that I found out with that regression that I've been doing for centuries. And that is, I send my roots down to the earth, and I teach my clients, send your roots down to the center of the earth and send that antenna all the way up to the heavens, and start to work with that antenna, and start to work with that grounding also, with the awareness that as you walk on the planet, you're like anchored.
Hmm.
So you're anchored, and yet you're also pulling in these higher frequencies. So probably that's one of the most important things. And the second thing I do is I teach people and myself how to flip our wings. because as we walk in a higher frequency and we can really claim that, then we're calling in the higher energies around us. And it's really easier to maintain that fifth dimensional frequency in the 3D body.
Okay, so you read my mind. I think there was some telepathy going on, but I wanted to ask you, what does it mean to be a wing fluffer?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think I'm the only one that goes around says I've fluffed people's wings. But to be a wing fluffer and to have your wings fluffed, well, let's talk about why you want your wings fluffed. Okay. So we're going to do a process and model it a little bit. So I want you to sit up. And this is where my chiropractic, by the way, and my angel side all come together.
Can you
But
explain that a little bit? Because I feel like there's such a deep connection to the spine, to our central column, and our level of embodiment.
well, it is. So I was supposed to speak on that conference next week about this, about how healing, the divine intelligence flows through our body. So the art of chiropractic, I'll just tell you, is that we bring in divine intelligence and we bring the energy in and we bring it through the spine. So it goes through the top of your brainstem, which we know is the chakra, the crown chakra, and it goes through your body, goes through your spine, right to the top, where if you put your hand behind your head, it connects with your cervical spine. And there's a switching atlas named after Atlas, the god that held up the planet. But this switch allows energy from the heavens, from the divine intelligence, innate intelligence through your body and into your spine. When this switch is turned off, which is most humans have it turned off, when your switch is turned off, then you're not going to receive this innate intelligence, these celestial energies. And so I've read recently that it is your angel switch. It is literally your angel switch. So when you energies to flow from above through you. So what happens? And it enervates your neck and your shoulders, and it starts to go into your arms and tingling and wakes up every single cell in your body. So you can receive energy and you can radiant energy. And my goal is I teach people how to become a radiant beam of light, a tower of light that connects with other towers of light around the planet. So we can literally spread miracle seeds across the world, across this planet, and also how to like also be so strong that it can be radiant as well, because we know that when we have a high vibrational frequency, that of an avatar, we can heal hundreds of thousands or even millions of people in our field. And so we have that gift that comes from learning how to manage this infinite wisdom or this energy that can come through us. So learning how to run it through our body, learning how to expand it, learning how to do all of that, and my basis for learning was through my chiropractic. And I used to tell all my patients that I was, so I used to do these moves and I would adjust right up here. And when I was done, I would tell my patients, we've just turned on your power. We've
Mm.
just turned on your power. And I actually didn't know in those days how powerful even that sentence was. We've just turned on your power. What the power to what? The power to be fully integrated, the power to connect with your guides, the power to receive information and wisdom, the power to run your body as a healing center, to run your body as a tower of light, the power to heal just by your presence. And that's the one I've been working on, the power to heal through beauty, because I really can't run away from that anymore, the power to heal through my presence. And we all have that if we learn where those switches are. So I suppose you could say I turn on your switch.
Mm.
I activate that switch to become who you are. And I call it spiritual chiropractic just because I have no other words to explain it, of how we turn on that energy and teach you how to know what your frequencies are and then learn how to turn it up.
Mm. Love that. It's such a beautiful process and just such a like full activation of the light body, of the physical body. It feels like such a mm, deep activation of our light.
It is. And because we came here, even though the world and living here is all about, not, more about not turning on your light, we've come to here to learn to turn it on
I really
and to
believe
be
that.
it and to be it.
Mm. I want to ask you about, with your Libra placements, and because I feel like one of the ways that we activate and turn on and ignite the light within and around us is through beauty, and so I want to ask you, what is bringing you pleasure, beauty, joy in your life right now, and how does that connect to further activating your soul mission?
Well, that's an interesting question, and I'll tell you why. Because I've been embracing it more and more. I've been living it more and more. I practice the art of presence, of walking in the world with my wings fluffed. So I literally feel alive, and I don't feel human. That's my secret. I don't feel human. I actually feel divine. And when I call in my wings, I feel like there's the angel here, the angel here, the angel here. There's now they're telling me not to forget the angels that actually carry my gown and hold it up. There's little wings on my feet. So I actually practice walking in the world as an angelic being. That keeps me grounded. And now I'm in Portugal, which I feel like I think it's a Pisces country, but I'm in the presence of these beautiful energies here. So for me, being in beautiful places that resonate, I don't like a lot of crowds. I'm a true empath. I don't like a lot of noise. I don't like a lot of crowds. I really don't fare well at the mall for more than 20 minutes. So learning where I belong, and how I manage my energy has also been important. When I discovered that other empaths also can't stand being out in the world, they too can't go to the mall. I realized, oh my God, that this is part of being an intuitive.
Yes, yeah, it is. And especially with all that Pisces energy. I shared my moon is in Pisces, but I also have, three planets in the 12th house, which is the house of Pisces. So lots of Piscean energy and therefore needing a lot of alone time.
I can imagine. I just can imagine that. Yeah, I lived 7 years in the desert. I was told right after I started painting, I was told to move to the desert so I could hear. And I did. I moved to the desert. The second day I was there, I met a woman who named me Joan of Angels house. And and I actually never got bored. My own company, my own art, my own work entertained me to no end. And I had connection with the guide. So I was really in my own energy field for 7 years. I always joke, Jesus needed 7 weeks. I needed 7 years to attune and align. And so when the call came to move out, I mean, I knew it was time. I didn't know where to go. And so I said yes to journeying around the world and working with Portal to Ascension, because this is an ancient mystery school with Neil. And I realized when I started traveling with him that I've known him for many lifetimes, but this isn't our first go around. We have actually gone around the world establishing mystery schools, secret schools of wisdom and knowledge.
It's funny. I mean, you can totally feel that with the two of your energies together. So
Yeah, so harmonious. It's just always surprises me. And of all the people I get along with best, it happens to be Neil, and so we travel together. I probably drive him crazy, but we get along because we have this purpose. And when your purpose is what motivates you, then it's not about the money. It's not about, anything else, but how can I lift up the vibration of this world? How can we bring these teachings out? But it comes from this higher place of knowing that we're here to remind people of their gifts and of this is as we head towards 2030, the possibilities for stepping into the fifth dimension and ascension are very strong, and we're heading that way. And the more of us that wake up to it, the stronger this movement will be.
Yes, I feel that so deeply in my being. And, for listeners, you're speaking about Neil Gore, who's been a guest on the podcast before, and you serve as the executive producer of Portal to Ascension now, which I want to ask you about, like, this new role in your life and what that's meant for you, because something that you're sharing that like really really resonates for me is like moving into 2027, 2030, like such a shift of energy, such a time of transformation. Like I see it as a bridge period where, so much change is taking place. But I think what's key is something that you've highlighted, which is like to really fulfill the missions that we came here with, is really needing to have that higher vibrational upgrade of energy, which we can, so many different ways that we're able to access that. But it really feels like for you, it's like all of these activations have been preparing you for this now moment. And I'd love to know, what
And
that.
I have said yes.
Mhm.
Well, even taking on the role of executive producer um, has been really interesting for me, because that requires me to not be powerful. I suppose that's not the right word, to have my presence felt, to really radiate self-confidence, to lead, to take a panel and lead it, to not turn it over to someone else who might try to elbow their way in and push me out of the way. And so much of my life I've been pushed out of the way. I've willingly given it to people because I'm not a fighter. It's like, oh, you want the stage, take it. But in my role as executive producer, that's not appropriate anymore. So I actually have, and that's been my challenge, to understand where I have not been claiming my full authority, my full power, my full presence, and starting to shift that so that I can recognize when I'm giving up the stage, or I'm giving up the micro, just different little things of not acknowledging why I'm executive producer. I'm executive producer because innately I do have those gifts and talents to call it as I see it, and to hold a high frequency, and to create events that people feel empowered, and our audience, our people, get those messages. And sometimes I realize it's becoming uncomfortable. I've had to call out some people for being less than professional, and oh my God, I've never really done that. I've never really had to really say, what is the vibration here that we have to hold, and who's not holding these vibrations? How do we work through that? So I am really learning a lot.
Ooh,
Good learner. I'm a very good learner.
yes, you are. And I just want to say, as somebody who, who tunes in, and that it's so important and it's so powerful to hear your voice. It's I just love the way that you bring people together and share your perspective. And so, and what you're speaking of is, the boundaries and the sovereignty, right? That is so important, and especially like being so compassionate, so empathic, like that can be something that we learn over time. And I want to go back to something that you said, um, which is like just embodying the goddess, embodying your beauty and your light. Because I feel like sometimes, like, you know, it can be difficult even to fully receive a compliment or attention or whatever it is. And what it really feels like when you're speaking is just like this infusion of self-love, of like owning every part of yourself. Would you say that's true?
I would say I've stepped into that. I just want everyone to know it's been a long process. I remember taking a class many years ago on basically the class was learning how to say no, learning how to say no. That's the bottom line of the class. How do you say no? How do you draw boundaries? And also the other part of the class was how do you accept compliments? So if I said to you, Emily, you're just amazingly beautiful, the answer is not, oh, my hair is messed up or I'm too fat, which us women really do. The answer is thank you. Thank you. You know, I really appreciate that. I feel beautiful today. I
Mm.
feel beautiful. And so that's a different response than saying, I'm too fat today. I'm in my fat clothes. As if, so a lot of us, especially as women, lead with our fat, or we lead with our, I'm not pretty enough, or thank you, but I'm not, we don't even say thank you. So claiming it, it's like, well, thank you. I feel beautiful today. Thank you, you know, for seeing me. Thank you for seeing me. And honestly, I do. I still practice with this. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for allowing me to show my gifts and share them and be seen for them. And that's something we can all incorporate. Now, granted, we're not always in a loving environment. Many women, many friends, people that I know are in difficult relationships or difficult situations where your boss, isn't going to say, oh, you look beautiful today, I'm going to give you a free pass or whatever. We have to really learn how to know that we are divine and that we hold this energy no matter where we are. And so that is one of the reasons. So some of my art I used to turn into scarves. In fact, you can still get it, but the scarves would protect people and keep your frequency raised no matter what. And no matter what. And I would test it on stage all the time so people could see how just walking out in the world could lower your frequency. I would do it through muscle testing. And then I would have a person on stage really feeling like, okay, I'm a 10. And then I'd have the audience send them vibrations to lower their frequency. And sure enough, their frequency would go down. So we respond to what other people think of us as, or how they're looking at us until we actually learn. Does that kind of make sense?
This is so important, and I really want to underscore it because you said something so profound. It's like just being out and walking in the world can lower your frequency, and that's how sensitive we are. Our energetic ecosystem is so, so sensitive to the subtlest of vibrations.
Oh my God. So, being a beautiful woman like you are, probably people have looked at you and they'll look you up and down as if, it's very embarrassing, like to have that someone look at you like that if you're walking down the street. And what that does, it literally turns off your basic chakra system here in the middle, and it literally turns it off. So you end up feeling like so exposed. You don't know what happened just because those were a bunch of workers over there looking at you, and you feel vulnerable as if you've sort of been psychically raped in some way, shape, or form. And so learning how to turn up that frequency again and realizing, this is prevalent out in the world.
Yeah, that's so interesting how you bring in the chakras and what it actually does to our chakra system. Um, what it reminds me is like the human ear can only hear such a limited range of hertz frequencies. And then you look at dolphins and it's like 160,000 hertz frequencies. Dogs have a much expanded level of hearing, but just because we don't hear it, the sound does not mean the sound is not there. And it's all of these sound waves, these vibrations, however they're absorbed, can have an impact. And I really believe that that's how sensitive we are and just attuning to those frequencies.
We have very sensitive auras, especially being Piscean. And learning, and that's why, there's a huge call now for people to learn how to energetically protect yourself when you're out in the world, how to, put on your own suit of armor, say, or fluff your wings so that you actually can walk out in the world and still, by the time you come home, be radiant
Mm.
and not lose your power as you're walking around.
What are some energetic, techniques that you would recommend?
Well, I teach people, I do sessions on how to fluff your wings. Okay. And it's a simple process. Honestly, I'm going to show you now. Your scapular behind your back, there's another name for it, wings. I find that so fascinating. It's your scapula, it's also wings. And I used to have a lot of pain back there. And I used to go, God, I just wish you can change my wings out. I didn't know what I was saying back then. I didn't really think of it as wings, but I would say that. And so when you bring your shoulders back and you imagine that your heavenly team is right there with you, and they're helping you fluff those wings and clear them and clear the energy from lifetimes of shame, lifetimes of torture, humiliation, being made less than. Look, women were slaves in so many lifetimes. We belong to men. Even in that sentence, there's so much awfulness, to not have your own power, to not be in charge of your own life or body. So we've been healing that. And this lifetime is the opportunity to finally heal that. And through the work that you do, through the astrology, through the galactic astrology, when you help people understand that, it helps to remove some of that trauma. I have had 32 energetic upgrades, which involve releasing a lot of trauma and understanding that, I had a difficult life because I had to have that trauma so that I can stand here today and really teach people how to do this kind of work and how to feel powerful, whether you're in Starbucks or at a construction site, with workers. So one of my secrets, actually, and this is kind of funny, especially if I'm in a shy situation, is I make sure I really look like a goddess and like an actress. And I understand when I do that, when I fluff my wings and I walk out in the world, it's very funny. Like 6 times in the last 2 months, people have looked at me and say, "Are you an actress? You look like you're really famous." It only has to do with the way I carry myself. But then I'm creating a force field around me, and people respond to me in a better way. It's my own kind of magic.
It
I
is.
don't.
It's you radiate, and I would highly recommend for people to, check you out and follow you on Instagram because, that energy is transmitted and, the posts that you share, the photos that you share, and it has a ripple effect. So I love those techniques and I love just feeling good on the inside and, also externally too, because it makes a difference in the energy and the light that we're able to shine. And so that's one of the final questions that I want to ask you. First, I want to ask you, Joan, you offer so many incredible services and and so I'd love for listeners to hear how they can connect with you and what ways that you work with clients.
Well, you can go to my website, joanofangels.com, and I do have some services there. I do soul awakening sessions. Now, help them remember, or to help them clear challenges or obstacles, to help them make decisions based on your higher power, your higher energies. I do wing fluffing to help you learn how to walk in the world. I'm a spiritual advisor, and I think I even put down spiritual chiropractic, which is where I teach you how to align in that way of turning on that angel frequency, of turning that gift on and running the power through your body so that you can have healing happen in all parts of your body. You can wake up your fingers in those ways. You can actually do a lot of self-healing. I've had a lot of people tell me that their pain goes away after they talk to me. So that is one thing I do. I'm also a visual visionary artist, and the art itself raises people's energy. The frequency is raised. They have, if you put the art in your home, it literally changes the vibrational frequency around you. And so I was asked about when I first started on this journey, and I've met all sorts of wonderful people, but I was asked if I do portraits. And so over the last year, I've developed a package called the Soul Essence Portraits. And these portraits, something came up, some bug. All right, I'm going to use my force field to push it away. So these energetic, and I have been able to do that sometimes. But these soul essence portraits, when you have one in your home, well, not only what it does is it reminds you of who you are in your soul essence, who you are on the energetic etheric field, who you are in the 12th or 15th dimension. And so when you look at yourself as an amazing goddess or high priestess, or you're surrounded with vibrational frequencies, you can never pretend that you are less than who you are. So you can no longer run. So it no longer fits for like me to pretend that I'm, ugly or incompetent or so shy. It doesn't fit anymore. And so it reminds you of your power. And it also, I'm hearing to tell everyone, it cleanses your auric field, which needs to be cleansed moment by moment sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is soul portrait art that I do also. And I also have other art that people take and they'll tell me, oh my God, the room feels incredible. The vibrations are shifting. And that's what I want. That's what I came here to do. That's what the ETs told me. You came here to raise the vibrational frequency of every soul here on the planet.
I love that. Your artwork is exquisite, and it's so incredible to have a reminder of your soul essence that you can have, in your home as a constant reminder of the magic that you are. So many beautiful ways. And I know that you work with powerful star seeds and light workers to really, further activate their gifts and their missions. So would definitely recommend, booking a session if it so resonates. But I want to ask you as a final question, Joan, um, what final words of wisdom would you like to share?
Final words of wisdom, Oh, okay. That's probably why I pulled that card. Follow your bliss. Follow that which makes you happy. Follow that which makes your heart sing. So years ago, I learned that when my heart sings, that's the right call for me. I remember taking my kids to different daycares. Well, I don't know, I must have left them home. I went and explored these different daycares. And some of them made me very depressed when I went home. And it wasn't until I got to one that I went, oh my God, I'd like to be a student here. My heart literally felt like it was singing. It was expanding with joy. So that's a key that you're on the right path. It's a key that, to listen. It's a key to follow that bliss and also have compassion for yourself. You have compassion for yourself because the lessons as a human on the planet are extraordinarily difficult. We have chosen to be on the hardest planet I think there is in the universe deliberately so that we can become masters and avatars by overcoming these challenges. And so even though you're not perfect this moment, or even though you might feel fat and ugly, or, even though you have given away your power here and there, it doesn't matter. It's like, even though I've done this, I know who I am. I know that I'm stepping into who I am. I love myself enough to have compassion for the woman or man that you might be, because we live on a difficult planet that's designed to really trap you in the third D reality. Everything is designed to keep you bound. And finding what allows you, what sets you free is the key. So finding that walking on, by the beach barefoot sets you free. I love sharing with you. You have asked the best questions. You're one of the best interviewers I've ever encountered. You have such a gentle, loving presence that you've put me to ease. I told you secrets I haven't told anyone.
Oh, well, I am so honored and grateful. I've loved this time together, loved getting to know you and hearing your incredible journey. This has made my heart sing because, Joan, you are such a bringer of bliss a way sharer of miracles, and you have so much medicine to give and to share so compassionately. So thank you for your presence, your grace, your compassion. So much love and gratitude to you and to everyone listening.
I am so honored to be here. Honestly, it's a treat to work with you. I look forward to the conferences we're going to do together. And I just honor you for opening these doorways for yourself and others.